If you're looking at a map of the Tampa Bay area and you are trying to figure out where the heck to plant your roots, well, you have probably noticed something. Everyone is talking about the north side, specifically Lutz, Wesley Chapel, and Land O'Lakes. Those are three areas that are located north of Tampa. And here's the problem that nobody warns you about. On paper, these three areas, they actually look almost identical. They share borders, they run on the same highways, and every single one of them will tell you that they now have the best schools and the newest communities. But I'm going to give you the reality on the ground because it's going to be completely different. The lifestyle, the traffic, and what your housing dollar actually buys for you vary dramatically depending on which side of the county line you're on. And we're talking about two counties. There's Pasco and Hillsborough. So what if you choose the wrong one for your life? You could easily add an hour to your daily drive, or you could end up in a fee structure you never saw coming, or wind up in a neighborhood that just doesn't fit the lifestyle that you actually want to live. So today I'm going to give you the full breakdown. It's going to be Lutz versus Wesley Chapel versus Land O'Lakes. There'll be no sugarcoating. There'll be no sales pitch. It's just real information that you need before you make one of the biggest decisions of your life. So if you are new here, welcome. My name is Jennifer Messina, and I am a local realtor. I am with Keller Williams, and prior to real estate, I spent 27 years as a federal special agent. So what that means for you is when I look at properties and contracts and local data, I look with very specific attention to detail and a protective mindset. I'm not just going to tell you what sounds good, and I will actually tell you what you need to know. 16 years ago, I actually relocated here to the Tampa Bay from California, and I had to figure out the market the hard way. That experience is exactly why I built this channel. So hit the subscribe button on the right at the bottom so you don't miss what's coming next. I put out new content every single week. So let's get into it. First, let's start with Lutz, because Lutz is the anchor of the north side. It's actually also where I live. If I had to describe Lutz in one word, it would be established. This is not the place you want to look for if you want a cookie cutter master planned community with a giant resort lagoon. Lutz is actually known more for acreage. You're going to find mature oak trees. You're going to find private lakes. You're going to find custom homes where you actually have a little bit of breathing room between you and your next door neighbor. So if you want a property where you can park the boat in the driveway and build a detached garage, or just have actual land under your feet while still being close to the city, then Lutz is your answer. It's primarily in Hillsborough County, and it's right on the border of Pasco County, and that positioning matters because you're directly on the main highway corridors. First of all, there's the Veterans Expressway, and then there's the I-275. Your commute into downtown Tampa from Lutz is almost always going to be smoother and faster than coming from the other two areas that we're going to talk about today. But that convenience comes with a cost. Inventory in Lutz right now is super tight. The homes are older, so you'll be paying a premium for that land and for the location and proximity. You're not going to find $400,000 brand new construction on a half acre in Lutz. That's not what this area is for. What you're paying for here is space and privacy and positioning. And for the right buyer, it's absolutely worth every single dollar. It was for me. I've been here 10 years. So now let's slide east to Wesley Chapel, and the entire vibe switches up a little bit. So Wesley Chapel, that's in Pasco County, and it's the absolute epicenter of growth for the entire Tampa Bay region. If Lutz is established, then Wesley Chapel is brand new. This is the kingdom of master plan communities. We're talking about massive developments like something called the Wiregrass and Epperson and Murata. These are all master plan communities that have multi-acre crystal lagoons that you have seen probably all over social media. They look exactly like that in real life. It's generally wild to see these things in person. So if your ideal lifestyle involves golf carts and brand new complexes and brand new schools and a neighborhood where your kids can spend the entire summer at a resort style clubhouse without ever having to get in the car, Wesley Chapel for the win. Your housing dollars buys modern, energy efficient construction with every single amenity you can think of. But here's what you have to understand before you fall in love with the pictures. These massive amenities have to be paid for, and you're going to be the one paying for them every year. In our video last week, we talked about the differences between HOA fees and CDD. If you missed it, go back and watch it. But what I want to talk about is it matters more on the north side. before we were talking about the south side. So in Wesley Chapel, you're often going to be paying HOA and CDD, which really can change your monthly number as far as your mortgage. So here's the other thing that no one tells you until it's too late. The growth in Wesley Chapel has been explosive. There's retail, dining, hospitals. All have moved in so fast. The Wiregrass Mall and the premium outlets are basically in your backyard, which a lot of people love. However, the roads are struggling to keep up. State Routes 56 and I-75 during rush hour can turn into an absolute parking lot. So if you're commuting into downtown Tampa, or if you're going to be working at MacDill Air Force Base every single day, you need to test drive that route at about 7:30 in the morning before you even think about buying anything. Don't skip that step. So in Wesley Chapel, you're trading the commute convenience, but you're going to have top tier suburban amenities, and neither is wrong. It's just about knowing what the trade-off is going in with your eyes wide open. Next, I'm going to talk about Land O'Lakes, and this is another one of the surprises that most people didn't expect. Land O'Lakes sits right between Lutz and Wesley Chapel, and it's on the Pasco side, Pasco County, so a little bit further to the north. And it acts as the perfect middle ground for buyers who want to look at Wesley Chapel and thinks it feels too commercial, but also look at Lutz and they think, yeah, it feels just a little bit too rural. Here's what makes Land O'Lakes genuinely unique. It was built around hundreds of natural lakes, and the communities here like Connerton and Bexley, they really do have an incredible blend of modern master plan living community with the natural Florida landscape. You get walking trails and parks and new construction, but the neighborhoods feel wider and they feel more preserved. They're less densely packed than what you will find in the heart of Wesley Chapel. The price point here can be a little bit more attainable for families who want some space without stretching their budget too far. Your commute options are flexible. You can always take US 41 South, which goes directly into Tampa, or you can hop over onto what we call the Suncoast Parkway or the Veterans, which is a toll road, which you have options depending on which area of town you're going into. So if you want a master plan lifestyle, you would rather look out at a natural lake or a walking trail than a shopping center, then Land O'Lakes deserves a really good look. It's one of those areas that doesn't get talked about enough, and the families who land there tend to love it. Land O'Lakes was also voted by Redfin the #1 suburban community in all of the United States. So here is the question I ask every single buyer that I work with on the north side. Actually, I ask everyone this question, and it's, what's your Saturday look like? Not your commute, not your square footage requirements. Tell me about your Saturday. Why? Because that question tells me everything. If your Saturday looks like backing a jet ski out of the driveway and walking out to a massive backyard and genuinely not being able to see your neighbor, like from your front porch or from the backyard, well, then you probably, of the three I've given you, you probably belong in Lutz. If your Saturday looks like packing up the golf cart and spending the day at a crystal clear lagoon with your kids and walking to a brand new outdoor shopping district for dinner, well, then you definitely probably should be in Wesley Chapel. And if your Saturday looks like biking a few miles on a nature trail or kayaking in a real Florida lake and coming home to a modern house that feels tucked away from the sprawl, then we should probably be looking in Land O'Lakes. None of these are the wrong answers, they're just different lifestyles. So the biggest mistake I see buyers make in choosing based on price per square foot or something that they found on Zillow is that they really should be looking at how they actually want to live. So the north side of Tampa Bay is a phenomenal place to put down some roots, particularly if you're relocating from somewhere else. But buying here without understanding the micro differences between these three communities is how people end up calling me 6 months after closing, frustrated with a commute they didn't fully think through or a fee structure that they just didn't see coming. So if you want to sit down, even for just a conversation at this point, and figure out exactly what these areas are and if they fit your budget, your commute, and the life you actually want to live, then reach out to me directly. My email is jenmessina@kw.com. And whether you're 10 days or 10 months out, my team and I are here and ready to help you get this right the first time. Hit subscribe so you don't miss next week. We're going to be heading over to Pinellas County for the coastal comparison. You're not going to want to skip that one. I'm Jennifer Messina, your Tampa Bay relocation real estate resource. We'll talk to you soon.